Hello and welcome back. This is lesson 3 of the spiral rib tube sock knitting class. Today we're going to be doing the third round of the spiral rib stitch pattern. I'm also going to demonstrate how I change colors when I'm knitting stripes in this pattern. I wanted to show you, this is a pair of socks that I have in progress. And as you can see, sorry, I've got yarn tangled all up around it, but as you can see, there's not really any jogs, you know, that dreaded zigzag that you get sometimes when you change color. It really doesn't show up here, and I think it's because of the spiral dimension of this pattern, and that's a really nice feature of the pattern, and it's one of the reasons why I love it so much. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we have our socks in progress. This is the yarn that I'm going to be using to change color with. If you're wondering why it's all crinkled and crimped up like this, it's because I literally just reclaimed it from a sweater. So there are a lot of different ways to change colors when you're knitting socks, or actually anything in which you're knitting stripes. But I want to show you how I do it. So first, when I'm first doing this, I will take the tail and I'm going to kind of wrap it around the original color, like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring the tail, or the end, excuse me, the yarn end in front, because we are going to start this round. The last round, you might remember, started with 1 purl stitch. This round starts with 2 purl stitches. So the yarn needs to be in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and knit 2 purl stitches here. And I'm going to come back here and just kind of give both of these yarn ends a little bit of a tug, just to kind of close that gap between the 2 colors as much as possible. And I will do that when I get to the end of the round as well and start the next round. So after the first 2 purl stitches, we're going to knit 3 and then purl 3. And again, we're going to be continuing that knit 3, purl 3 pattern until the end, until almost the end of the round, or end of this particular needle, I should say. And every once in a while, I just kind of take an extra look just to make sure I haven't missed any stitches, because, or, you know, knitted when I should have purled and whatnot, and vice versa, because it is unfortunately all too easy to get distracted and not be sure if you purled 3 stitches or if you purled 2 stitches. So it's a good idea to keep track. Okay, so we've got 1 stitch left, and this stitch will be purled. And basically, when you get to the point where you're not doing just the straight knit 3, purl 3 pattern, it's, if you remember where you started, for instance, in this round we're starting with 2 purl stitches, then you just remember that the first 2 stitches and the last stitch on the needle need to equal 3. So if you purl 2 stitches, then you're going to be left with 1 purl stitch. It's pretty easy to remember it that way. So now I'm going to come over to this needle, and again we'll be doing the same thing I did with the other needle as far as changing color. I'll wrap this tail around the original color. Maybe, there we go. I'll pull this yarn to the front since we are starting with the purl stitches. I'll purl 2 stitches. And I'll come back here and give the yarn ends a tug as soon as there we go. Give those a tug. And now we'll do our knit 3, purl 3, repeat to almost the end of the needle. And I had someone in one of my recent videos ask if you can do this if you throw with your right hand rather than wrapping with your left as I do, and you absolutely can. I'm going to attempt to show you that on this needle. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my other needle here. And again, we're starting with purl 2. Okay. Oh, it has been a long time since I've attempted to knit. I think it's called American style, so we'll see how it goes. Oh goodness, I don't even remember how I do this. All right. You see how fabulous I'm doing here. I can't even remember how that's done. Oh my gosh. How do you... I don't even remember. It's been so long. The scary thing is I actually started out as an American knitter, a thrower, so to speak. But it's been so long, I do not remember how you do that. Wow. I need to, well, not now, obviously, but when our pandemic is over, I need to invite a thrower to join me in a video, and so she can demonstrate, or he, I guess, can demonstrate how they do it, because, man, it's been too long. I can't even remember how you do that. Oh, well, okay, so almost to the end of this needle. And this stitch, by the way, is going to be very loose, since that's the last stitch of our original color. So once I knit that stitch, I like to basically pull everything together. So I'm going to pull the pink yarn to draw that together. I will pull on the tail, and I'm going to pull on the end here again just to get that all nice and secure. And now we're going to go to the next needle. I'm really, all right, let's see. Okay, I kind of did it. Let me try it again. Oh my goodness. And I'm going, of course, as slow as molasses, but I have seen lots of knitters who can knit pretty darn fast doing it that way. I have no idea how I did it when I started knitting. My goodness. Okay, I'm going to go back to the way I normally do it because that's driving me crazy. But at least I demonstrated that you can indeed do this when you're a thrower. Wow. My respect for throwers has just gone up by like 50 times. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and finish up. Actually, I'm going to finish this up, this round, and then I'm going to demonstrate, well, you'll see in a minute. I'm going to demonstrate basically how you'll carry on from there, just to make sure you don't have a big gap, because the danger is of having a gap when you're changing colors is there. It's a very real potential problem. So, all right, again, I mentioned that this stitch right here is really loose, so I'll pull that pink yarn to kind of close up that gap. All right, so now, and this is something you're probably going to want to do, especially if your stripes are not that wide, and you don't want to cut yarn to change the colors. which I hate cutting yarn to change colors. Because I hate to weave in ends. So what I will do now is I'm going to, again, wrap the yarn around the original. I'm going to wrap my new color around the yarn end of the previous color, like that. And then I will go ahead and continue. I'm actually not going to knit the end. Then I'll go ahead and continue with the round. I actually occasionally will wrap or twist. It's usually called twisting rather than wrapping. I'll sometimes do that 2 or 3 times, which is probably overkill, but I'm really trying to make sure that I can hide that color change. That's my main concern, because sometimes if you if you twist improperly, then the previous color will show up more than you want it to. So you really only need to twist once, but I'm paranoid, what can I say? And it's funny because of the way, I mean, let me show you in my socks in progress over here. With the way the ribs are really deep. You really can't see color changes, like, at all. So I'm a little paranoid about that, but it does make for a nicer finished product when you're conscientious about that. So I will go ahead and finish up this needle, and then I will demonstrate that again on the other needle. Okay, so I'm going to take the yarn end of the color I'm working with now. I'm twisting it with the yarn end of my previous color. And you don't have to use both, you don't have to twist both the end and the tail. I do at the beginning, I then eventually drop it, but I do at the beginning just to try to keep that tail out of the way. And then go ahead and continue with the round. And you know, I think I promised in the last lesson that I would demonstrate, I literally just remembered this, what you can do if you accidentally knit with the wrong yarn end. And I will demonstrate that to you. Actually, I think I can demonstrate it to you on the back half of the needle if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, I'm pretty sure I can. Okay, so I will demonstrate that on the I think I said back end of the needle. I don't remember. I think you guys know what I mean. On the second half of the round. There we go. Okay, so switching to the second half of the round. And what I'm going to do so I'm just going to merrily knit on this needle. Okay, to the end. Okay, now let's say that instead of dropping this yarn end, I accidentally hang on to it and I continue knitting this sock with this yarn end. Or maybe I even drop the yarn end and then pick it back up accidentally. Yes, I've done that. Don't think I'm making things up. I have totally done that. Guys, I have made almost every mistake there is to make in knitting. Trust me. All right, so let's see. I could go completely around. Actually, I would probably discover it right about, no, I don't think I would. I'd discover it all the way over here, but all right, we've carried on the charade long enough. So basically, once I get over here, first of all, I'm going to discover that I've got 2 yarn ends to work with. So that will give me one clue. But of course, you might even discover it before you've reached that point when you realize, I've knitted my socks together. All right, so if you get to this point, what to do? Actually, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to finish this needle real quick because I want to demonstrate what you can do if you've actually made it to the other side. The other side of the round, and that's where you discover your mistake. Because, wait a minute, I think I just knitted that wrong. Oh yeah, I totally did. What in the world did I do here? I feel like I made a big old boo-boo somewhere. Oh yes, I did. And actually, I think I made it in the previous row. Look at that. You see a purl bump there. There shouldn't be a purl bump there. That should be a knit stitch. See, there's 2 knit stitches here, and I messed that up. All right, I'm going to fix it here real quick. I think I might have a video about switching knit and purl stitches on the fly like that. I'll have to link it if I can find it, and if not, I'll track it down somewhere and I will post it. All right, so I've gone ahead and done my cable magic loop trick. Fun times indeed. I've twisted my yarn here, and I'm knitting, or I'm purling to be more exact. Purling those first 2 stitches, and let's see, I'm going to set this down, and I'm going to go get my coffee cup refilled, and I come back and I just happen to notice that, what I was talking about earlier. And then I realize, oh, the terrible thing I did. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to switch this around so that we're basically facing the inside of our stitches. And we're going to unknit, aka tink. And how you tink is, the easiest way to do it is if you kind of pull up on the yarn end so you can see the stitch underneath, the stitch on the previous row. And you're going to just put your needle tip right through that lower loop, and you're going to pull that stitch right out. Okay? And we'll do that for as many times as we need to. Again, if you pull up on the yarn end like that, it makes the opening in that lower stitch, that stitch on the lower row, easier to see and stick your right hand needle into. Okay, we're going to untwist our yarn over here because that's not necessary. And now we're just going to kind of reverse engineer, so to speak, the magic loop. We're just going to go ahead and pull this needle tip back into place and pull this needle tip out And again, we'll be facing the inside of the stitches that we want to fix or we want to undo. So we're just going to go ahead and tink, tink, tink. What did I do here? Why is this stitch pink and the rest of the stitches gray? I messed something up. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I will worry about that off camera. I'm sure that pleases all of you. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and finish our tinking or unknitting. And especially if you are using wool or any kind of animal fiber, this yarn actually happens to be wool and alpaca along with acrylic. You might find that the yarn is sticking to itself a little bit. Not a big deal. Just kind of pull it apart. Alright, so there we go. Now we're free to swing it back around, so we're back to where we were when we made the mistake. We're free to pick up the proper yarn end and start again. And I think I just accidentally purled 2 stitches together, didn't I? Or I started to. Yeah, I sure did. Okay. There we go. Did I mention I've made every mistake there is to make in knitting? I really have. All right. I think that's going to do it for today. So you can go ahead and practice. If you have multiple yarns that you want to use for stripes, you can practice changing colors. And you can practice with that round. You can see already from just doing two rounds of this pattern, you can already see the spiraling starting to happen, that twisting effect. That, in addition to looking really cool, in my opinion, has that effect of being very stretchy and very flexible, which allows this sock to fit a wide range of feet sizes. So, thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.